All right, everybody. How's it going? Welcome on in to Beer for the Right Reasons. I caught Adam mid-drink, so we're perfect.
Excellent. Just finishing off the old protein shake from the gym earlier. So
Perfect. Well, thanks for the follow there, Ryder, as well. Appreciate you. But yeah, welcome on in. This is episode 4 of Beer for the Right Reasons, also episode 4 of Michelle's season. So yeah, Adam has something for us. He has a Bachelor Nation inquiry that I'm curious about here.
There's no real news, right? You usually open something, oh, there was a bit of news, or oh, hey, I watched Bachelor Canada, but it's only been one more episode. And so I was going to ask you this a couple of weeks ago because it was when I was getting really annoyed with Jamie. I guess that would have been over the last 2 weeks.
Right.
But it never came up. So who is your ultimate just go away, get off my TV, I don't have time for you person that's been on the show? Not necessarily someone you hate, but just when they're on the screen, you're like, I just can't do this.
I think when it was happening, definitely Luke P from Hannah's season. I still think he might be a psychopath inside. I don't know.
Yeah, he's pretty bad.
He was one that it was almost to the point where it was like Hannah's season was so damn good that it literally, and thank you for the host there, Daly. I appreciate you. Welcome back. But it got to the point where he was so obnoxious that I was like, man, I don't know if I want to keep watching this.
Okay.
Because it was just and she just kind of kept going with it for a good bit of time, right? So
I'd say that's one of the reasons that made her season so good was the fact that he just kind of hung around and it kept just building, right?
Yep. And I think,
but I agree. I know a lot of people that were not thrilled by him.
I think retroactively, I'm like, oh my God, I'm so glad he was a part of it. Like that was absolutely. But during the moment, it was rough. Okay. It was rough to say the least. But.
So for me, it's Kaylin. Do you remember Kaylin from Colton's season?
Kaylin. Oh, was she
was the pageant queen that had drama with Hannah because they were both
she's
pageant queens,
ridiculously good looking, if I recall.
Am
I crazy?
I don't even see it, but a lot of people probably do. But to me, that never clicked for me.
Sure,
I think she's with Dean because they showed up on the last episode of Paradise.
Yep,
right?
I know exactly who you're talking about. Yes, okay.
That for me, she was my ultimate on his season, and then on Bachelor in Paradise, I'm just like, no, just off my screen, please. I cannot put up with you.
Wasn't
I don't even really know what it was. There was just something about her that clicked with me, and I'm usually pretty neutral to everybody, at least.
You're extremely nice.
Yeah, but something about her clicked, and it must be reminding me of people I didn't like, because the second she was on screen, I was like, no, get her off my TV. Can't do it.
Wasn't she one of the many flings of Blake while he was at what's the festival that all the white people go to?
Stagecoach.
Or
Coachella?
No, Stagecoach. You're right.
Yeah.
No, Coachella is more like California, Indio, that stuff. Stagecoach is like the country festival, which is
that's right. That's right. Yeah, Stagecoach. But part of that played into it too, because there was all that drama and I don't know. And then Blake released their text messages, which showed that she was the one who was like, no, let's definitely hook up. And
interesting.
You didn't see that? You don't remember?
No, I don't remember that. No.
That was one of the few. That was the first time I ever got online with The Bachelor. Was I need to know more about this drama. What's going on?
Right.
And then it was her tale on TV did not line up with what their actual conversation was. So it was just the absolute final strike for me when I was already not on board.
That's so interesting. Yeah, she didn't get under my... I mean, she definitely was a little full of herself and a little flighty, if you will. But I guess she just didn't get under my skin that same way. That's super interesting.
Fair enough. I just think it's sometimes interesting to talk about that, especially because, like I said, I'm usually at least neutral on these people. If not, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. So for someone... For me to have absolute, I would turn off my TV if I wouldn't watch her season if she was the Bachelorette.
Fair enough.
I thought it was an interesting conversation.
I like that, and it's funny as we're talking, it sparked something in my brain that's also Bachelor Nation news. I can't believe it did. Okay. But I read about the fact that apparently JoJo Fletcher and Jordan Rogers are going to be hosting a dating show. I
really?
don't remember all the details about the show, but apparently they're filming it now. So pretty should be interesting. Okay. Yeah, those two seem to have a pretty good relationship. So why not?
Again, I never watched her season. I just watched the finale episode.
Okay. Yeah. No. I mean, it was a great season. I mean, you got Wells.
Honestly, there was a lot of
yeah.
characters on that season. If I ever was like, I need to go back watch a season, I might pick that one or Nick Viall, because
yes,
it seems like his season was like super popular and influential as well.
Yeah, he's one of the ones that like was one of those leads that clearly had his pick, but he still played the role really well and like authentically enough to like, oh yeah, I'll give these other girls a shot, but he clearly had his pick. But yeah,
fair enough.
Shall we dive into the episode? Let's get into it. Okay. So starts with the preview, obviously, is typical Bachelor preview of what's happening. There's going to be a car race, a gondola date, connecting with the guys a bit, and then some Chris S, flash forward, if you will. But then it kind of hops. Yep. Then it kind of hops into the intro. Guys talking, and they're super stoked that Jamie's gone, obviously, right?
They're talking about Jamie, and it's so funny the way the show works, right? So it opens on this clip. All the guys like, man, I'm so glad Jamie's gone. I can't wait to move on from drama. I'm so glad drama is gone from the house, and that there will be no more drama in the house anymore. And then like it cuts immediately to Chris S going to sit down, and then he falls out of his chair.
Oh my god, I love that so much. I was like,
it's just like
a little foreshadowing.
With the preview, it's just like, oh man, just those things they do on TV, man.
Well, and I think that's there's supposed to be this sense of relief every start of an episode, like, whew, we've only got good people left now, man. We're good.
We're through that. And then like Michelle's chatting with is it Caitlin and Tayshia, or just Caitlin?
I think it was just Caitlin. Yep.
Yeah, I thought it was just Caitlin too. I wasn't sure if maybe I just missed it, but
yeah.
And then she's saying like the same stuff. Ooh, what a relief to be through all that. I can't wait to be in this week with these dates where the guys are going to pay attention to me and respect me the entire time.
God damn it. Hell yes. That's the hope.
Yeah.
Oh God, I love it. I love the foreshadowing during the intros is sometimes just so on point.
Like the last couple of weeks was it was there a little bit, but it wasn't too much. But this week I thought it was just like so like on going from 10 to 0, like there was so much relief, and then when we know we're going all the way back down. So
yep. It's pretty funny how it shifted so quickly, but
and it didn't take long.
Yep. So Tayshia comes in with the date card with the guys chilling around, and says that they're having 2 one-on-ones this week, which I'm trying to recall if dual one-on-ones happened this early in a season previously.
I couldn't tell you. I don't remember the week to week well enough. Once I get far enough out, it all just blends together, right? So.
Yeah, I feel like they usually do this a little deeper into the season when, there's not so many guys. Yeah, because
we're still at 15 guys or so, right? 14 guys. So.
Probably sounds about right. Yeah. But yeah, so we find out that Martin gets the first one-on-one. And funny thing, Olu hops in here and says, oh man, I don't trust Martin because he was friends with Jamie. And I wrote down when it happened, I put new beef starting ? So I don't know, man.
Almost, but not quite, or at least not this episode. Who knows how it's going to play going forward?
I wonder.
Yeah. And I actually thought that was kind of interesting too, because out of, I think, 2 episodes ago when Jamie was starting his little, I don't know if it's a lie as much as
his BS,
his truth, his version of life.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. But he was the one talking to Martin. Martin was kind of like, yeah, dude, if that's true, that's messed up.
Yeah, Martin seemed a little receptive to more receptive to Jamie's stuff than the average bear. Yep. Yep.
At the same time, then when Michelle came in, later in that episode and was like, this isn't true. I was out with friends. Just because I was with a guy friend doesn't mean I'm dating him. Doesn't mean it was Joe. All that clears all that up. Martin seemed to be like, okay, great, awesome, that's cleared up. So
Yeah,
it's not like he was super on board.
For sure. I feel like he's one that like I like to think of myself as one that like even if I'm really strong-headed about something, if you come to me and present like real evidence, I'll be like, "Oh yeah, you're right. I'm totally going to flip my mind." And
Yeah,
I think
sure.
that Martin's definitely one of those as well.
Yeah.
Despite being a little intense maybe.
Yeah. I mean, so Olu says that, and then Michelle even says it right away early in the date as well. She says something I need to get to know about Martin is, I hope that, his relationship with Jamie doesn't interfere. Something along those lines. She's a bit worried because they were, for each other, they were the closest two in the house. So
I was a little surprised that she picked up on, I mean, obviously she probably picks up on the guys, being buddies and stuff, but like, I don't know if maybe a producer came to her and was like, yeah, try and play up this angle a little bit.
Maybe that. I imagine at the cocktail party, when you see the guys kind of standing around by themselves too, you kind of understand the little cliques that form in the house, who's friends with who too.
Yeah,
so
totally.
You probably saw the two of them standing together for, however many times. And so
makes sense. Mm-hmm. So the date starts, they end up, well, it starts with Martin himself going solo to a racetrack, right?
Not just any racetrack,
mm-hmm.
the BMW racetrack, where they're going to drive BMWs on the BMW test driving BMW.
There was enough. BMW. I think there was enough product placement involved. I think they're trying to hawk those M3s really, really hard to the Midwest Bachelor Nation dads. Definitely. I liked it though.
I thought it was a cool date.
It was definitely a cool date.
That's fun.
Mm-hmm.
But I just thought it was hilarious how the guy's just like, hi, I'm so-and-so from BMW. Today we're on BMW. We're going to be driving the BMW M3s and we're going to be doing this on the BMW track. It's like he had to get it out like 12 times in 12 seconds.
Contractually obligated to do the baker's dozen of BMWs. I like it.
Yeah, well, that's an actual thing in marketing contracts too.
Oh, is it? Okay.
It is. So like one of the most egregious examples I can remember is WWE with Domino's.
Okay.
Domino's was a sponsor of WWE at one point, and so they had to, obviously part of it is the Domino's logo goes on screen and splashes, and they, this brought to you by Domino's.
Uh-huh.
And they just, it almost became the point where it's like every sentence felt like it had Domino's in it. And then it came out afterwards that, they had to mention Domino's X amount of times on the broadcast, which is why all of a sudden the, play-by-play guy was all of a sudden just like Domino's, like out of nowhere.
Oh, that's so crazy. I mean, it makes sense, right? They're paying us probably a good premium to be engaged in there, but
I bet you because this show doesn't pay for dates. They probably don't pay for these hotels. They probably don't pay for these resorts that they go to when they travel. They don't pay for these date events. If things like they're not paying the musical acts.
No, definitely not.
It's all exposure. You're gonna get great exposure.
Yeah, plugging everything for sure.
Like I bet you Top Gun probably came to, the Bachelorette instead of the Bachelorette going to Top Gun last time, right?
Oh, definitely. So the date starts out. Martin walks onto this track, right, which I think is also funny, and this dude like drifts right around him, and I'm like, man, Martin, get off the road. You're gonna get hit, bro. Just get out of there. But sure enough, Michelle pops out, right, and I felt like they're competing with each other was really cute during the start of the date. So they do like a little drifting course that Michelle is clearly better than he is, or at least they edited that way.
I got that written down here. I say, their love is gonna be fast and furious on this date, and then they have to learn to drift, and then Martin, and they go, and it's either like Martin was either terrible and could not figure it out, and Michelle was amazing, or they used a little bit of tricky editing, because usually on these dates, it usually works out that way, right? There's always one
Yep.
person who's terrible and one person who's great, and it's like not to poo-poo Michelle or anything, but like she's been killing it at basketball, killing it at everything, killing it at driving. It's like maybe they're using a little bit of creative camera work here, but at the
Yep.
same time, if she's just killing it, then she's just killing it. Because sometimes people just grab things and they're good at things, right? So
I literally wrote down, I think Michelle would kick my ass at literally everything.
yeah, probably she's just good at stuff.
I think she's just a talented lady. That's for sure.
Yeah,
That's for sure.
yeah.
So yeah, they.
Martin
Oh, sorry.
I was gonna say Martin said he had drifting experience, and she's like, "Oh, I've only ever drifted in the snow," which I can relate to. I love going and doing that.
Right.
My old car, yeah, just pull that handbrake and whip around a corner, and you feel awesome. But
Oh yeah, I remember that from Montana.
Track, that's a completely different animal. So
yeah, and the reason I think that maybe it was a little bit of editing was they never really showed Michelle drift too much either. They showed him skidding out a bunch, but they never really showed her like, oh, here's her drifting like a boss. It was more just like kind of cut to her in the car being like, what's Martin doing?
yeah,
kind of funny.
And then it shows the car drifting, but you can't really tell if she's in it or not. So yeah, there's a chance for that, but yeah. It was still cool.
Yep, definitely cool. They obviously hop out of these cars and make out with each other. So I think the physical chemistry is still there. He's just an extremely chill dude, which is kind of interesting.
He's got such a chill vibe, which I almost would have thought he would maybe have an energy more similar to Peter, just off his appearance, right? Again, like just judging the book by his cover, but he's got such a chill demeanor. It's like really refreshing.
Very calming.
The show used to not always be great about that kind of stuff. It was always a lot of really aggro, aggressive dudes, not often a lot of chill dudes. So to have, just like a good group of chill dudes is sometimes like refreshing and fun to watch.
I think that as culture itself has progressed, they've started to go away from these dudes that are like super problematic white dude kind of stereotype that they used to have, and
Agro,
like
alpha, all those kinds of words.
Yes. So yeah, I'm glad to see it. That's for sure. The next thing I wrote was tin can hot tub. Was this the first hot tub of the year, or have we already seen a hot tub? I'm trying to remember.
I think this might be the first one. I don't think I remember any bathing suit stuff or anything like that. I
don't feel like they have it either. And of course, typical Bachelor, they always have the weirdest looking hot tubs. Like it's never like a regular hot tub. It's like, oh, this clearly is hot water that they put in like a tin can or something.
Yeah,
right?
Because you know what that looked like to me at first glance? I thought they were going to be doing like a cold tub, like for athletes, they'll go into the cold tub, or Kevin Hart has that like YouTube show.
Where they're like sitting side by side.
Yeah, and I thought it was going to be, now they're going to do like, they were just hot on the track, and now they're going to do, we got to cool things off. And no, it was a hot tub, and I was like, this is such an awkward hot tub.
Well, I think of all the awkward hot tubs that Peter was in during his season of The Bachelorette, of The Bachelor, where it was always like these weird, like super vertical wooden hot tubs, and I'm like, man, can they just give these people something they can lounge in? But
I think Ari had a couple like that too. Like
he definitely did. Yes,
I remember at least one or two, and it was like weird because like. One of them I remember being weird, and I think it was maybe just because it was my first season that I watched closely.
Yep.
Because it was him and like 22 girls in bikinis, and they're all like fighting for him. And then at one point, I think he had a boner because he was like kind of keeping him. He was awkwardly shifting around under the water.
Hey, we've all been there. It's fine. It's all gonna be fine.
If I was in a hot tub with 22 gorgeous women in bikinis, I mean, I couldn't. It could happen.
The blood flow does what it does at that point. Yeah. Absolutely. So they're sitting very cutely together in this hot tub, obviously vibing, right? Seem to be doing great. And then Martin opens his mouth about Jamie. And
what did you think about it?
I wrote, oh no, don't talk Jamie up, bro, you idiot.
I have you don't need to do this. Please stop talking.
Yes. So we're on the same page there. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
On
But
one hand, though, I think I kind of get what he might have been trying to say. I just think he said it very poorly.
he did.
And I think,
The whole like,
yeah,
oh, Jamie's still a great man, and I'm like,
yeah.
oh, not the way to say it, bro.
I think maybe the idea when he had it was like, if what Jamie was saying was true, then the idea or like doing what he did isn't a bad thing if his information was good and honest and all that.
Yeah.
But then it's the fact that he did it badly and was like 98% we're sure he was lying about it.
Straight up lying. Yeah, for sure.
So that's where it falls apart. And you can think that, and that's what I kind of parse from it, but you could tell she was not having it.
Oh, her body language shifted like that. Oh yeah.
And she had I don't want to say she went into like bitch face, but she definitely went into like
shutdown face.
Yeah, that's a better word for it. Much better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, she's one that you can read her emotions like super clearly. Like we'll talk about the group date, but you can read how Michelle's feeling. It's she's good at like putting on a smile a little bit, but there's still a lot of emotion there for sure.
Yeah.
And of course he kind of plays it off. She doesn't take it like seemingly too seriously, because they end up going to the dinner date, right? And he's basically like, hey, I think she even calls him out about it. And he goes, I'm not the best communicator. I had a father who wasn't the best communicator either. And that's how I learned growing up, right? I feel like that's almost like a given on these one-on-one dates, is like they have to talk about their parents. Like I feel like
we'll get into that a bit more later too. I've got something there.
Okay.
For Rick's date, we'll talk about it there, but yeah.
Perfect. But yeah, basically she kind of says the same thing, like, hey, I wasn't the greatest communicator when I was younger either, which is really interesting considering how open and loving her parents are to each other. But maybe that doesn't necessarily they're that way with other people or their children or something, right?
Well, yeah, and you also she's so articulate, but then when it gets into the group date later, but it also goes back to the last episode, how she felt like, oh, I was the token black girl and I had to fit in. I couldn't just be myself.
Yep.
And so that's going to change the way you're obviously going to think about communication and stuff. So I totally track that there.
Absolutely. So essentially they have this nice conversation, and sure enough, like, because I think he kind of deals with the lack of communication stuff like she did, she kind of gave him a pass on this. She didn't really like stick the Jamie thing to him too badly, because sure enough, she gives him the rose, right? Like no problems there. I feel like as long as he learns, I think she says something about him being able to adapt really quickly to like direction that she gives. And I feel like it's interesting because you don't want to necessarily be the person that's like, oh, I always have to give you direction, and then you shift your personality, right? But as long as it's the little things, that's not too bad for the two of them, right?
Yeah, absolutely. At some point, you can't just rely on the person picking up your body language. Sometimes you might have to be like, hey, just so you know. Oh, okay, I'm sorry, I didn't know.
Absolutely. Communication is key, even into like long-term relationships, you know what I mean?
Plus, I think he had like, even if he kind of lost some points on this date, I think he had so many from the previous dates.
Oh,
like he won the group date rose, and they just seemed to have a good vibe any other time we saw them talking. So I think he would have had to really have like really screwed up to get himself in trouble on this date.
I also don't think yeah, exactly. And I also don't think we can definitely not discount the fact that like I think she's just really attracted to how he looks, because he's like a really stylish, good-looking guy.
He's hot.
It makes sense, right? That trumps a lot of things.
A lot of people look past a lot of problematic things, and just because they get horny for somebody, right? Like
absolutely.
I've mentioned that before, so
we've all been there. That's for sure.
Look at Katie's season, right?
Oh yeah. Oh, big time. Yep.
Or even Colton's season. Like Cassie clearly turned him on the most out of that group of girls, and he was willing to look past and push through all these other things that were
tons of red flags and no connection and nothing. But if she's hot, she's hot. you know?
Yeah. So.
Yep. Yep.
But
So,
yeah, no, he gets his rose, and then they go into the planetarium, and they're looking at stars through the telescope, which just looked really radical.
oh man,
So
that play. I think I didn't write it down, but I was like, man, that would be one of the few like after dates because like you obviously get the musicians and the whatever. I'm like, planetarium has to be like up top on like end of dates for these one-on-ones, right?
and on a nice clear night, to be able to do that would be really cool.
Yep,
So,
in the desert. Absolutely.
absolutely.
Yep. So next thing kicks off. We've got a group date card coming in, right?
You betcha.
On the group date will be Will, Chris S, Casey, Chris G, Leroy, Rodney, Olu, Brandon, Clayton, Joe, Romeo, and Nate. Basically everybody that's there except
Rick.
Except for Mr. Rick, except for Jim Halpert himself. Indeed. Indeed. During this date card, Chris S notices Nate popping off a little bit, right?
I don't even know if he was popping off. I think he was just there's a line between confident and cocky, and I think Nate is just very confident that he's like he's gotten one group date rose, I think it is, and he got the first impression rose, and him and Michelle had a great time. So he was like, yeah, some of the guys were so bummed out. He's like, you know what? I'm not too bummed out. I'm really confident in our connection, and I'm sure at some point I'll maybe get a one-on-one, and that'll be great. Which is getting a little bit ahead of himself.
I was gonna say he didn't really say it like that though. He was like, I'll get a one-on-one. Don't worry about it. And I'm like, that part is where it kind of like went over into cocky.
Yeah, for sure. And I was just about to say that's kind of where I went. Again, I start almost translating as he's speaking.
Yes.
And that's where that's what I pulled from it. But yeah, the way he said it, but even the way he said it, I didn't really have that much of a problem with it. And
that's fair.
Any of the other guys did too.
No. And like, previews also have an influence on you because like Nate's been the chill, gentle giant the whole time, right? And
yeah.
If all of a sudden he's the cocky asshole, it's kind of like, this doesn't really compute so much, right?
At the same time, though, we have seen weird shifts in people on this show before.
Jamie.
Yeah. Literally, Jamie took like not even 10 minutes in his, I think it was episode 2, right?
He was like, I have my rose, and now I am evil.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, so they read out the group date card, and they're going to like a slumber party date, and they all get little gift bags which have little outfits in them for wear. So in honor of that, I put on my nightgown robe, whatever it's called, house coat, and my long johns.
That's the most Canadian pajama wear that I could potentially imagine, my friend.
Oh, man, and I'm comfortable right now. When I was putting this stuff on, I was like, I forgot how good this feels to wear. I can wear this more often.
Well, next time we have to coordinate, I'll
I should have said something, but
that's fine. It's so funny.
I got home from the gym and was like, hey, I should do this. I gotta put new clothes on anyway. So
I love it. And of course, some of the guys get like nice robes or silky shirts, and then our boy Rodney gets the best outfit. Let's just be fair.
He gets the
onesie. I love his onesie so much.
It's just like we can't. I don't know if we can possibly love Rodney more. Can we? And then next week's gonna come out, and we're gonna fall in love with Rodney all over again somehow. Somehow, every week.
A bit of a sidebar there. I had a moment while we were going through all the Bachelor stuff. So, and I know I told you a part of this. I DM'd Rodney on Instagram, slid into Rodney's DMs, and was basically like, "Bro, we love you. Like, you're our guy on the show." Blah blah blah. And he liked my first comment, and I was like, "And by the way, the bowling shirt is for the rest of us." And he's like, "Thank you, bro. I appreciate you. Appreciate the love," or something like that. And I was like, you don't have to do that kind of stuff responding to random ass dudes online. So
that's
like,
just so wholesome.
He's a great dude.
If I got a random comment where someone was telling me I'm really nice, well, it happens sometimes on Twitch where someone comes into the chat and is like, Adam, you know what? Thanks for cheering me up today. It was blah, blah, blah. You're a cool guy. I really appreciate the talk we had. I'm like, wow, no, thank you. No, don't thank me. Like, thank you for being awesome and
Yeah.
supporting me. Like, I don't know. I wouldn't know what else to say there. So
Yeah.
it's just cool that Rodney's cool.
It was in line. It's nice to see, they say never meet your heroes, but God damn it. It's Team Rodney forever.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Our little shit Chris S, he gets the risky business outfit. He gets the white shirt and the tighty whities. They do the little promo where he kicks his leg on the couch and slides on the floor. And like, it's our second Tom Cruise thing in 2 weeks. We had Top Gun last
That's
week.
true. I didn't think about that. A little homage.
Hopefully we get like a Mission Impossible next week or something. That might be fun.
Do we have some like Scientologists on the producer crew or something? That's
Someone's going to jump up on a couch and start yelling, I love Michelle Young.
I would love that. That would be amazing.
Yeah, but I saw that and it's like, I was actually thinking maybe I could just do like the loose white dress shirt. I was like, I don't want to dress up like Chris for the podcast.
No, that's if you had a onesie, maybe.
If I had a onesie like Rodney, I'd be wearing that.
Gotcha. It was funny though, because Michelle sits down and is like, hey, I just wanted to, insert a little chill, like normalcy to this process. And she's like, I think she says the term like chill, like, and being normal. And Rodney looks at his outfit and he goes, something like that.
What I wondered about is I wonder if he was sweating in that thing.
Oh God. Oh,
like
yes.
that looked pretty warm. Like I'm pretty warm in this, and I've got no socks on, and I'm not doing physical activity. So I wonder how toasty he was.
I'm a little bit of a bigger fella, so my like pajama game is like athletic shorts. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's as cool as possible, as cool temperatures as possible.
Yeah, no, I just go like the baggy boxers and like just a t-shirt or a tank top or something like that.
There you go. Classic. So they start this slumber party, if you will, right? They've got the popcorn maker, the twister, the cotton candy, and then of course the oversized teddy bears, right?
Yeah, you got a couple of guys doing the face masks with the little foot bubbler massager things, the little foot spa. There's a whole table of snacks there too. There's some other snacks, and guys are, and it was so funny watching the guys because like they must have been going crazy in the house because they were so excited to be doing something.
They're like, oh my God, relaxation and fun out with the group.
Yeah. And they were building their teddy bears too, or at least dressing their teddy bears. I don't know if they were.
I was kind of weird. They didn't really give a lot of time to that, but unfortunately, while they're having this great time, right, they're not paying attention to Michelle, bro.
No, they're broing out super hard. They're more focused and having more fun broing out than they are on paying attention to the Bachelorette.
It's crazy because I remember this from Claire's season, right? The whole nobody's paying attention to me kind of Claire vibes.
God, don't even get me started on that one. That one pissed me off.
That one was a bullshit one. This was like
they're being extra.
Yeah, but this was like her being actually hurt. You know what I mean? Like Michelle, I can totally feel where she's coming from. Where like, hey, well, I don't have to be the center of attention every 5 seconds, but the show is called The Bachelorette.
Yeah. And there was the one, I think they were sitting down to play Duck Duck Goose. Like, oh, should we get Michelle? The guy's like, yeah, she can show up later.
No, don't worry about her, man.
And it's funny. It happens like every season on The Bachelorette. There comes that episode where the guys are just broing out too hard,
Yeah.
And again, I think it's part of it is like the guys kind of losing the plot a bit. But then I also feel sympathy for them because, they're just sitting in their hotel rooms or in empty ballrooms at this hotel doing nothing. So when they get a chance to do something, it's almost like, okay, I get Michelle's here, but I have an hour and a half to have fun today before I go back to my hotel room.
Yep.
So
well, and I don't think
sympathetic, but at the same time, it is The Bachelorette.
I don't think I feel like anger towards a single one of them. I just think that they were just a little like, maybe not as focused as they should have been. Yeah, and like even she says it herself. I think she goes then and sits down, while they start up the ultimate teddy bear takedown.
hosted by the Bella Twins.
Now
WWE fame.
that was going to be my first question to you. Do you know these twins well from your wrestling?
Absolutely do. They probably lasted a good decade in WWE.
Oh, so they're out of it now?
They're out of it now.
Okay.
So there's Nikki and Brie. Nikki was the one in white. Brie was the one in black.
Which one was the shiny pants?
I think that was Nikki.
Okay.
She had the white top and like the leather pants or something
Gotcha.
like that.
Gotcha.
She used to date John Cena, and Brie is married to Daniel Bryan or Bryan Danielson, who was a really big WWE star from Washington State. And now he's like a top star in the other big wrestling company, AEW, right now.
Oh, I see.
But yeah, no. The Bellas were kind of in a weird transition phase of WWE when WWE was leaving the early 2000s, late 90s, like really skanky women's division that they had.
Yep.
And so then you kind of got this influx where they're like, well, we still want to have really pretty girls, but none of them know how to wrestle. So let's just get a bunch of pretty girls and hopefully some of them can figure it out.
Yeah.
And then, but then in like 2013-ish, 2014-ish maybe, all of a sudden they started finding actually good female wrestlers who were great in the ring, gorgeous, athletic, had great characters and all that. And the Bellas were kind of the transition from so they started out doing kind of like the pillow fight matches.
Sure.
And then by the end, they were trying to compete in the more serious, modern women's division. And kind of over their reign, it changed from the Divas Championship just to Women's World Champion. They a complete change in attitude towards
taking away the like catty women fighting and pulling each other's hair bullshit. Yeah,
making it more serious and stuff. And so they were part of that, and they were influential-ish, but I think WWE plays it up a little bit more than they were, because I think at the same time, I think like WWE could have pulled the trigger on some other women's wrestlers a bit sooner, but
gotcha.
When your two top stars and John Cena and Daniel Bryan have got girlfriends in the company, I feel like there might have been a little bit something there, because
a little bit of a boost, perhaps.
There was like an absolutely terrible 4 months in the women's division, and they were at the focal point of it, and it's just like, no, please,
I see.
No, please. So
gotcha.
I guess this is all to say they would have been good upper mid-ish card characters, but they weren't really main eventers, and they got pushed as main eventers. So a lot of wrestling fans have mixed feelings on them.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, apparently they're still getting the right promotion, because they're still they're still getting gigs. They
moved into full influencer territory because they got a reality show. They got huge Instagrams. One of them was on Dancing with the Stars.
Okay. So they've gone full influencer.
Transitioned out of wrestling and into entertainment culture. So
gotcha. Well, it makes sense, and they host this teddy bear takedown, right?
Yeah.
And of course, at the start of it, Michelle's already bummed because not only did she not get any what she called them, what were they, little moments of attention, the little moments that really matter to her. She hadn't got any of that, and then they start a competition, which means she's not going to obviously get any of that during that, right?
And Caitlyn picked up on it right away. She sat down, and Caitlyn was immediately, "Hey, girl, you all right?"
Oh yeah, she did a deep breath. She was like, Caitlin's like, "You're not okay. I know it."
Yeah.
Yep.
I was like, that's some good instincts there, Caitlyn. Good job.
Somehow I don't see Chris Harrison reacting the same way.
No, and that's actually something I saw some people discussing about the show, is they kind of like the fact that, especially for the Bachelorette now, you've got female voices who've been through it, and they kind of understand this perspective, where with Chris, it was always, I don't want to say robotic, but artificial feeling when he would sit down with them.
He felt like a newscaster.
Yeah, that's a good way. Yeah.
He was very professional and clearly very well trained, but cold.
The human side wasn't quite there all the time. Well, definitely wasn't there all the time. So
right. So it'll be interesting to me if obviously Jesse Palmer's doing The Bachelor. Will he do Bachelorette also, or will they stick with female hosts?
I hope they stick with Klaysha.
Hey, that's a good couple name for them.
Well, that was what's her name's season. Klaysha was Claire and Tayshia's season, and so some people call that the Klaysha season.
Oh, I have not heard that before.
And now we've got Keisha.
Oh, Keisha. Okay.
So
Perfect.
I kind of like him, or I guess you could call him like, oh no, I was going to say Tatelin. That's a bit too close to Taint.
Ooh,
so.
yeah, that might get on a little bit of a danger zone.
It takes
moment.
one extra button press on the keyboard to turn it around. So
It's a problematic Twitter at best, for sure.
It is. But
so
back to the day, they start 1v1ing off. So there's two teams, and the winning team. I'm not even sure how they really decide the wins. I guess it's just whoever dominated the fight most, right? And
most of these were pretty, these were pretty
Yeah.
clear. Most of these, for sure.
There was no like point system. It wasn't like you had to first one off the mattress ring they built or anything. So
right.
Clayton steps in the ring against Joe, and Clayton's really wants people to take him seriously.
He wants to be a physical specimen, that's for sure.
Yeah. So he gets in there. He kind of beats the crap out of Joe. He's got a good.
I felt bad for Joe. I was like, dude,
Yeah.
Joe, I know you're good on the basketball court, bro, but this is not your place.
No, he's got 4 inches and 30 pounds on him. And
yeah.
Like I said, Clayton has those big football shoulders, man. Like he's a big dude.
Absolutely.
Leroy hops in there against Rodney, and this one I was like, I actually didn't know who I was gonna go for here because before each one I was like, oh, okay, no, I'm definitely taking Clayton over Joe. This one I was like, well, this is a coin toss, and I thought maybe, Rodney would pull it out for us, big team Rodney, and he lost to Leroy. They gave the point to Leroy.
I think that one was one of the most balanced fights there were, but then unfortunately I think Rodney got knocked down.
Did he? That's or something, and fair enough.
Just wanted to say welcome in, Switch-Faced. What's up, buddy?
Hey, Switch.
But yeah.
Next was Nate versus Will, and Will wins this one. So now it's 2-1.
He's a freaking savage himself, Will.
He went hard, man. He was like swinging away, and like Nate's big old gentle giant, super chill like demeanor was not designed for teddy bear death swinging.
No, he's failed at pretty much every physical competition so far.
He really has.
And that's just so hysterical for such a big man. But
it is. Even at the basketball, he was like throwing up bricks on layups. And it's like, you're the tallest one here. You should be able to finger roll every single one of these.
Yep.
But Casey hops in against Chris S. And Casey wins, thank God. God, I could not have put up with Chris S winning in this one.
Nope. Tiny Superman went down. Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Chris G gets in there against Romeo, and my Canadian fella Chris G wins that one.
I put Canada for the win as my note there.
And then so right now the points are 3-2. 3-2.
Yes.
Because Chris G was on the same team as Will. And so comes down basically this final one, or there's gonna be a tiebreaker, which would probably be which team does Michelle think is the best, woohoo, or something,
Yep.
Something
or if they both go.
Or they both win.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's Olu versus Brandon. Now Brandon's my pick to go far, but there's a reason I could not side with him against Olu, and that's because it's our quote across the bottom of the screen today. They call him Swolu for a reason.
Absolutely, they do.
Is ripped. Like they showed a promo of him doing some push-ups, and he like leaped 2 feet off the air in a push-up.
I put Olu is freaking jacked. I'm scared for Brandon.
Yeah, and also in the date, we forgot to point this out. When they're all broing out, it cuts to a clip of them doing some absolute bro shit.
Oh yeah,
which is Olu lifting up his shirt, exposing his abs, flexing, and telling Clayton to punch him as hard as he can in the abs.
Punch my stomach, bro. I could take it.
Abs a steel challenge. Let's do this. Yeah, hit me as hard as you can. So Clayton clocks him in the stomach.
Hard.
And Olu shrugs it off. It's like, this man is a freak.
I think those are the two.
Crazy.
Those are the two that I wouldn't want to meet in an alleyway. Clayton and Olu. They beat you up.
Big dudes and jack dudes. And Olu even calls himself like the Black Panther before he gets in the ring for this match or something.
Yep.
And poor Brandon, his baby face and his relatively normal build compared to Olu.
His still very fit, lean body.
Yeah. But it was nothing on what Olu brought to the table. He beat the crap out of him with that teddy bear. I think didn't his teddy bear like explode near the end, like ripped open?
I think he had like had it by one leg, and it was like the teddy bear had given up by that point.
Yeah, it's like, okay, Olu, we get it.
Yep, but
so that team wins, and they get to go on to spend the evening with Michelle. But even at the end of this, like they celebrate together, but Michelle's vibe's still off, right?
Well,
So
and no one comes to celebrate with her. They
yeah,
just
so they were
they celebrate on
celebrating
their
together,
own.
sorry, without her. They didn't really include her in the circle.
Exactly.
That's kind of what I meant to say.
Sure, sure. Yeah, no, it definitely, the vibe kept going that she had, right? And they're all celebrating without her, and I think it cuts to her talking to Caitlin, right? And says, you know, they don't realize that they're missing all these small moments from her, and that her poem from the poetry date was like, hey, you know, I don't want to be overlooked by the person I'm with anymore. I need to
left out. Need to be seen. She says that a lot. She says she really has the need to be seen, and it's not a needy thing. It's just anybody, like, you wouldn't want your partner to feel like you're not there all the time, like you have to fight for their attention, you know. She seems pretty low maintenance. Like, had any of the guys come up to her and be like, hey Michelle, do you want cotton candy, or hey, help me put my shirt on my teddy bear, or don't you think my outfit's silly, haha, how's your day? Like, but we got like none of that. So I think that's why, like, I'm totally on her side with it, because it wasn't like Claire being completely extra nuts, over the top.
Yes,
it was actually completely reasonable. So
yeah, no, and Michelle, even in the way that she reacts to it, is like, okay, but I'm still gonna try and stay positive, and I'm still, but you know what,
she doesn't want to take it out on them.
It's understandable, but you know, they do get to the night portion of the date, right? And that's, I think she used the appropriate time, which is everybody's sitting down. You know, I'm obviously walking in, no matter what, I'm going to be the center of attention when I walk in. And even when she walked in, they were kind of like, hey, Michelle, what's up?
Yeah,
I was not
harder for her. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and you know, Rick wasn't there, so she didn't get the, oh my God, that part of it. So that's fine. But she tells the guys, like, hey man, I was hurt and overlooked, like, and felt overlooked all day, and that we missed out on all these small moments, and, you know, telling all of her fears, right?
Yeah. And it was actually like a really, and again, like really good, really measured. And then the guys on the date, I actually thought handled it really well.
Yeah.
You know, like they understood, they let her get it all out there. No one was trying to cut in or anything. And then when they went to have their one-on-one time, like, all the guys apologized and kind of said, hey, you know, I'm sorry. I never want to make you feel that way.
Yep. Well, I found it really interesting that she pulled Nate first, not Nate asking her, hey girl, you okay? True. She pulled Nate being like, dude, you and don't get me wrong, it's clear that Nate is one of her top 2 or top 3. Right.
I have him in the top 3. Or definitely top 4. Like, we could talk final 4 guesses later if
for sure. But like, girl really likes him, right? And you could tell that, like, the other guys doing it is like this bothers her a little. But you could tell, like, she wanted Nate to apologize, and he just was kind of like, I'm sorry. So sorry to make you feel, I think he said the term, sorry to make you feel that way, or sorry you feel that way, which is like, oof, like apology 101. Apology. Oh, it's so dismissive. And so I thought he was kind of sucky, but I mean, Swolu himself was the one to bring it all home, right? Like,
he killed it. Yeah. Because he was really emotional while she was talking in the group setting. You could see, like, he got, you know, had the wet eyes, and I can never tell sometimes if these guys are just sweating a lot.
That's what I thought at first. I'm like, man, Olu's got a metabolism.
I think that might have been all crying, because none of the other guys look too sweaty. So, because sometimes they do, and you can tell, like, everyone's just dripping. But no, he was crying, and then he had a really, like, emotional, deep talk with her. And I don't think we've really gotten any moments like that from Olu so far. And he basically said, hey, I know exactly what you're going through. My sister has talked to me many times about how guys haven't treated her right and have made her feel that way.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know if Olu's ever talked about his family dynamic, but it sounds like he was very, obviously he's like a big brother, but it sounds like he's very protective, and I almost got the vibe that he had to do a lot for his sister growing up, and that's why he's that moment hit him so much. Yeah,
right? maybe dad wasn't around, or parents weren't around a bunch, and
raised by the grandparents, or you never know, right? There's so many different family dynamics scenarios that could happen. And there's so many that they talk about in these shows. But yeah, definitely, like, he stepped up, and they had a really great little conversation, and he definitely, like, stole the show.
Absolutely.
especially compared to Clayton.
Well, yeah, and
I have a thing here, and it just says Clayton makes Clayton face while he
he's
apologizes.
like, I see you, Michelle.
He's
I've just been
reading from
playing
like
it
a
safe.
script
Yeah.
almost, yeah.
Oh
And
God.
like the Clayton face, he has this face that's like I don't even know. I tweeted a picture of it. It's just like he that is like his serious. Oh, I can put on a serious face now. I don't know, man. I don't know if I can do like. We'll definitely do the season of The Bachelor. I'm not promising to have a good time.
Yeah. that is fair. And you know what? Like, if the seasons are bad, they're just more to make fun of. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I'm
Like
hoping he has great girls or something
I
like that
imagine he
because
will. Yeah, absolutely.
the way that we're raving about Michelle, I do not expect myself to start raving about Clayton that way because I'm just getting nothing from him. He's just there. And it's like like I said, it's like he's reading from a script almost of like, oh, this is where I should say these things. And it
Honestly,
doesn't.
though, like Michelle herself on Matt James's season was not like some super outgoing, thoughtful, whatever. No offense to her, she was very reserved, and you can tell like that was her kind of like I'm getting more and more okay with myself being the center of attention, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
And then I was gonna say, then as the lead, you obviously open up and you get that kind of confidence boost that I am the lead, I'm the
yeah,
center now.
I'm getting paid. I'm the one
So
getting paid $100,000 for this, not anybody else. You know?
yeah, so maybe he pulls it around. I'm just saying that this far in, man, like
Oh, it's looks
I'm just
brutal.
getting nothing,
Yeah.
nothing from him.
Well, and
And
it's
that's not a
funny.
spoiler. He's all over their official pages as the next Bachelor. Like,
It's really unfortunate because I almost want that to be like, oh, have somebody else shine so much that they just flip the script at the last second and get one of the other guys. Be like, because I don't know if you knew back in the day when Nick Viall was picked, pre Bachelor in Paradise, they had I forget his name. I think it was Luke, who was the like kind of country music dude. That was like super douchebag.
he was on Winter Games.
He was, I think, yeah.
Luke Pell.
Yes, Luke Pell. That's his name.
Yes.
And so he was supposed to be the Bachelor until Nick had his final arc on BIP.
Oh,
and
really?
and they were like, oh man, we got to switch this like ASAP. And I don't know if it was something
Okay.
problematic with Luke or with Nick, but I was like, can we just have somebody do that for Clayton? Let's just throw what's the guy from Katie's season that was like the super sweetheart, the black dude who was like he came and like hugged her in the lobby after she kicked him out or whatever. I forget his name. Andrew, I think. Is it Andrew?
Andrew?
I'm trying to.
Gosh, I can't remember. Katie's season's a blur to me, man.
Fair enough, but yeah, like so many better choices, but you know.
Or even like you've got some pretty wicked dudes on this season, and she's clearly not picking. You know,
all of
she's
them.
Got 14 dudes. She
Yep.
can only pick one. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
It is what it is, though. You know.
Yeah, but I guess that's my little Clayton rant for today.
I like it, but yeah. So end of the like, she comes back to the group of guys. You know, gives the rose to Olu, which absolutely deserved, right? Like maybe the most deserving group rose I've seen in some time.
Yeah, he definitely, because this was like a definitely different vibe, and he played into that vibe, and like you could tell like his conversation with her just like it got to a whole new level. Because like I think was Brandon, no, he wasn't. There's someone else on this date had a really good conversation with her too, but it just didn't quite get her emotions, and you could tell she didn't. The energy was just so different. She felt so much more better after Olu's conversation.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and it's the same in our real lives, right? Like you go through something and you have somebody in your life that has like true empathy and almost more emotional about it than you are. It means a lot. It means a lot to be like, fuck, somebody else actually cares about me.
Yeah. So.
Yep.
But we move on now to Rick's date. So
Jim Halpert gets his day.
They get a one-on-one and talking about, time to take things to new heights, I think was the quote, something like that.
Yes.
And so I mean, we'd seen the gondola in the preview, but with the new heights thing, I was like, air balloon, skydiving, mountain climbing, like down a big mountain,
rappelling. Yeah.
Squirrel suits, flying squirrel suits. I had all these ideas, and it's like, oh, it's just a gondola ride and a nice hike.
Well, the funny part to me before they even get on the gondola is him trying to lift her up. He like hugs her kind of at her shoulders and tries to
Yeah.
like lift her from the shoulders, and I'm like,
You gotta come at the
oh,
waist there.
basic leverage here, bro. You just looked
Yeah.
real. Oh no, don't do that to her.
Plus, it's not like he's a big physical freak
No,
like some of
he's-
the other guys.
He's a
too.
normal human. You know
He's a
what I
pretty
mean?
normal fella. He's just
Yeah.
a normal, handsome lad.
Yeah, but it's totally true. The gondola ride is kind of pedestrian, right? Like I've been on a
Yeah.
gondola before. It didn't look like even like one that was that super high up, honestly.
No, it looked like. I mean, I think they did get to the top of whatever mountain they were on, but it
Yeah.
didn't seem like a. It's not like you're taking a gondola up the Rockies or anything like that, where it's like you actually feel like you're on top of the world. It just kind of seemed like a normal-ish one.
Yep. And even
then-
like when they were going up, like it's
Yeah.
how far the gondola like a lot of the time gondolas will be like real close to the mountain like that, and then the mountain will like cut away into this huge deep valley, and it's just this like, 1,000
Yeah.
feet beneath you. They didn't have any of that.
Yeah, you'll get
So-
like a vertigo moment. You're like, whoa, right? But
Yep.
no, nothing. And then, like I said, nice hike, and they have a little picnic. And,
Yep.
he gets eaten by mosquitoes. Did you see his neck?
No.
Oh man, he has this massive mosquito bite on the one side of his neck. It's on the camera side. Like if you go back and rewatch it or see any clips, like
Yeah.
you can't not see it. And he's been scratching it because it's all red and white and stuff. It's like, oh, I feel bad for you. They don't have bug spray for you guys. Like,
I myself am slightly allergic to mosquitoes, so I feel
Oh,
for him
boy.
because I'll get those ones that are just like those big welts from
no,
mosquito
that's kind
bites.
of what his looked like. He's got one that was a big, nasty looking.
He was
one.
probably slightly allergic for sure.
I actually thought it was a bee sting, but it didn't. The fact that they never talked about it, and I just like, it's probably just a mosquito. Then.
Right. Or
So.
something, right?
Like a bee sting, they would play up for the comedy or the drama. Of it.
Absolutely.
Oh, are you okay? Let's get first aid. Like a mosquito. They're like, it's a mosquito.
Yep.
You don't have West Nile. You don't have malaria. Okay, then you're
We're fine. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, and I feel like the rest, the middle portion of this date's pretty. Yeah, it's just like a nice day hike, right? They're having fun, they're a little kissy here and there, but like I put, man, this is just really peaceful right now was my note, right?
Yeah, I actually don't even have much to say because it was just so like normal and chill.
Yep.
And then not that that's a bad date or anything. It's just like, man, nothing's happening. They're just having a good time. That's nice.
Then they do come
then-
across, go ahead.
Yeah, they come across this box in the forest where I guess people will write like notes about like
Wishes.
love notes in there and their issues and
Well,
you put it in the
it's
box
it's a
and
wish
you're
box.
supposed to
Yeah.
wish box, yes, that's the
Mhm.
word, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like you write a note and you can like take a note out for someone's wish but then add your own note or something like that. I think you're supposed to do that. I don't know, I've never encountered one and I wasn't sure what they were explaining.
I'm
when
not
they
a
were
big
talking about it.
hiker, so I don't really know if
I
this
don't
is a
mind
normal
hiking, I've just
thing.
never seen that before.
Right.
But anyway, they read a few notes and talk, there's quotes in there about, oh, something to find love or whatever.
Yep.
But then the one that really kind of gets the meat of the date going is one that pertains to, I think the note even says, like, I wish my dad could see the man I've become.
Yep.
And that gets Rick going. And then we find out Rick's super sad backstory, which my kind of thing is like, man, everybody on the show has one of these. Like, everybody seems to be able to open up about one of these. And
Yeah, they've cast
Deep's
some dudes.
story that was on Twitter, which was great. But it just made me think, it's like, man, maybe that's why I didn't get on the show, because my life's normal.
They're like, he hasn't had any tragedy. He's out.
Yeah. It was like, oh no, my parents are happily married and none of my friends died yet. We're all 30, so thankfully none of us are dead.
Right.
So, but, and that's not to cast comedy and not take Rick's thing seriously. It's just
No.
a general comment about the show. Because then Rick opens up, he starts talking about his dad, and he actually gets quite somber. And Rick's a pretty emotional guy. Like, you can tell he's always
Extremely.
and for him to get kind of so emotional and quiet was kind of interesting because he almost starts whispering at points. because he starts talking about his dad and how he busted his dad for cheating on his mom.
It's
Dad was
crazy.
out one day, left his phone home. His phone buzzes. He's 17, I think he said at the time. He's like, "Oh, Dad's phone buzzes. I'll check the text, see who it was."
Yep.
And then sees it's from another woman, and they're doing some flirty talk, and he closes it. But then, he sits on it for like, I think he said a couple days, and then he told his mom about it.
Yep.
And then I think a couple days after that, his mom woke him up early in the morning before school and was like, "Your brother's at your grandparents, and we're leaving."
Yep.
Like,
just insta breakup there. Pretty crazy.
It's just crazy. And then he says that he kind of, blames himself for their thing, as I think anybody would in that situation. It's not like a parental divorce where the kids aren't at fault, but they feel they're at fault. Like he what he did directly obviously led to these events. Now, granted, there must have been issues probably between them beforehand.
Oh yeah.
But you could say he was the straw that broke the camel's back, right? So
yeah. And that's where it's like really important that he's talking with her, and I think he says something like she makes him feel like this is all easy to talk about this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That like, I of course there's certain people that you date in your life and have these serious conversations, and sure enough, they don't have that same kind of empathy, that same kind of respect, and she really does have that, right? We've seen her on multiple one-on-ones now take in these really serious things that these guys have been through and just dealt with it so well, right?
Yeah.
And I wrote after this big conversation, and even before the night part, I put Rick. I think Rick's gonna get bumped up on her list.
Yeah, I think she really likes him too.
Yep.
I think she's always kind of been intrigued by him, but I think the further we get into this, the more that she really likes him, and the fact that he opened up like that.
Yep.
And then because it even gets, I don't want to say it gets worse, it gets heavier because so he still had a relationship with his dad, but then his dad just kind of suddenly passed one day, and he says they never really reconciled properly.
Well, and it's clear it's not like a suicide thing. I think it was just something like,
it sounds like he had a heart issue or something.
Or maybe just something happened, and then he was gone, and Rick just never recovered it because he didn't get to actually have that conversation and be like, hey, I wasn't, trying to just bust up your marriage and make you feel like a terrible person. He was just like, no, I found a text message when I was 17, for God's sake.
And at the same time, though, to Rick's dad and anybody else who's out there, don't cheat. It's never worth it. Just don't do it.
Don't cheat. Absolutely.
Cheating sucks. Don't be that person.
Yeah, don't be that person for sure.
Yeah.
And Michelle says, his wounds that are what make him an incredible person, right? She thanks him for being so honest and so so emotional, and I think he like whispers back at her or something. He's like I really appreciate that, or something to that effect.
You could tell this wasn't like when guys put on a little bit of drama and emotion, like
nope.
To get to that whispery phase as a guy like that, like when I've been in that situation, I'm like, no, I'm in a real emotional spot in that moment. So
absolutely.
Yeah. And
so
moves on to the night portion. They kind of keep talking about things. It's not really nothing too much new really there.
Mm-hmm.
And then she gives him the rose, which is good. They kind of talk, and they just kind of talk through it a bit more, and she gives him more reassurance. He says thanks. Relatively uneventful, but then they get to go to their personal concert and kind of cheer things up.
You did skip over one thing.
Oh, did I?
Yes. Before she gives him the rose, Rick says that he's falling in love with her.
Oh, that's right. How did I not write that down?
That's okay. So Michelle, after she's like says this whole thing about his wounds make him this great person, he's like, you know what? Like I the way that you've made me feel today in such a vulnerable place, like I feel like I'm falling in love with you. And I think he even says something to the effect of, the more I see you, I can see myself straight up loving you. And I was like, dang, Rick,
right.
Not even just the falling for you bullshit, but like the falling for you and like I could see myself loving you is a hell of a lot more than I'm kind of falling for you, sweetie, kind of thing. So
I can't believe I didn't write that down because I remember that, but I must have just been so focused on the other notes there. That's my bad.
It's all good. It's
But
all good.
we did mention like last week, like Rick is when he had I think it was one of the group dates. Like we were like, Rick is in love already.
Oh,
And
he
like
is head
for
over
him,
heels for her. Yes.
and for him to all of a sudden open up emotionally like that, like that's just gonna send those emotions even further, like
To the
further
moon.
into the deep end.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So now they do get to their concert, and I have this written down. Andy Grammer, actual musician.
Well, that was my question to you. I was like, that name sounds kind of familiar.
He has had actual Billboard hits.
Okay,
The one you might recognize is "Honey, I'm Good," where it was like, "Nah, nah, honey, I'm good. Should probably something or other." Da, da, da. If you look up "Honey, I'm Good," it was a song about cheating, basically. Guys at like a bar or whatever, and the bartender's trying to get her to cheat with them or something like that.
Oh, okay.
No, I got someone at home. You'd recognize the song if you heard it. It was
For sure,
all
for
over
sure.
the radio. I think it got to like it was a top 10 Billboard hit, like a real hit song.
I was wondering why
musician.
A, he wasn't slightly country.
Yeah.
B, he could actually play and like had a falsetto in his voice that was like really good. I'm like, this guy sounds, and just his name, I was like, this sounds so familiar to me. So
yeah,
that's quite the spark.
Song.
I like it.
Yeah, Lease on Life. But yeah, actual musician. They've been getting some decent dates. Like they had movie people that we didn't recognize, but still a big movie.
Yeah.
They got the rights to the Top Gun music for the date, you know?
They did. They've spent some money on this Bachelorette. Whereas like I feel like Katie's season, they didn't spend shit on it.
They had $20.
Yeah, they're like, she kind of sucks, so let's save the money for Michelle.
I think with Katie's season, I think they almost were running out of like quarantine ideas, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
They were just like, oh, we need to travel. We can't keep doing. How many times can we do like a pool date or you know,
hot tub?
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah.
Move on.
Yeah, so the cocktail party kicks in. Chris S immediately puts his foot in his mouth, of course, right? Like Michelle comes down, and of course this brings us to one of our most popular segments, our dress rating.
Okay, yes, let's get into this first.
Let's do the dress rating first, because that's more important. Rating. All right. What do you have out of 10 roses? What do we got for this?
8 roses.
8
roses for this one. This one was on par to night 1 for me, but was not as good as last week. Like last week was jaw dropping for me. This week is obviously she looks amazing, but it isn't as good as last week, and last week was 9 roses. So this is clearly I'm the Russian judge here, because I put 5.5 roses. What? With the leg slit and the like sleek black thing and everything? Really?
I realize your love for the leg slit. I have respect for it, but the top of it with like the weird kind of like fringy sleeve that was kind of see-through. Oh man, it just wasn't for me. So I had to like by far the worst for me. Like not even close. So okay. And of course wasn't very sparkly either. You know, that's important. And I'll have another comment on sparkly here at the end of the rose ceremony. But but yeah, not my biggest not the biggest fan of that one, but
no, that one was on night 1 for me, man.
That's so funny. That's great. Well, it's clear that you're
really outside of night 1. I don't think we've really lined up on a dress yet. That's fun. That makes this fun, man.
Absolutely, it's great. Yeah. It's great. So yeah, now the
Chris S white knight bullshit happens.
The douchedom. Yes. He says it's unbelievable that she feels unseen. He calls out all the guys that think they have it in the bag, if you will, right? And while he's doing it, I'm like, douche, 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 douche. But I don't know if I'll tell a little bit of my thoughts after, but yeah, like I was just like, why is this guy doing it? And the other thing is he cuts her off. Yeah,
okay, because I have that written down here. He cuts her off during his little white knight speech here, and then the thing is, like, the reaction of Michelle is like a thanks kind of reaction.
It's kind of like, why are you talking, bro?
Yeah, and then all the guys kind of just look at him like, okay, bud, like whatever.
Yeah, fuck you, buddy.
Then,
yeah,
and then who was it? I think it was Brandon. I think someone does their little like cutaway interview thing
Yeah.
and is just talking like, we buried all this already. This was all dealt with like 2 days ago, a day ago, 3, 4, however many days ago. Like, why is he re-bringing it up? Why are we starting this over?
Yeah,
And
it's crazy.
oh, it just annoyed me because like it happens every season where some little like someone is like, man, I'm definitely losing.
Oh
You
yeah,
know
I'm getting
what?
kicked out of here.
What can I do? It's like, all right, time for the Hail Mary. Like someone always ends up feeling kind of. I don't like using the alpha beta thing, but it's so easy. I need to look up new vocabulary. But like, he's feeling kind of beta. He's feeling kind of second place. He's not
Yeah.
feeling as masculine or as powerful as all the other guys. He's not nearly as confident as all of them. So then they pull out this. Well, I'm here for the right reasons, and I'm looking out for you, Bachelorette. I'm the one you can trust. These guys are phony and fake, not like me. It's like that nice guy, capital N, capital G, nice guy attitude.
Yep.
Like he should be wearing a fedora and tipping it at her as he says all this. I'm a woman respecter.
Yes,
Like,
he's clearly one that like, oh man, and you can tell like he pulls her basically, and then another rude thing he does, like Brandon comes up and is like, hey Michelle, I want to talk to you first, and Chris is like, I already have I have time with her. I already said that,
and she like she kind of like begrudgingly gives into it.
Yes.
And then they go sit down and he kind of keeps going. He just keeps going. Like I can't stand Chris this episode. Oh, like
yeah, and it's clear she can't either, right? Like
yeah, she's not really has time for him.
Like she kind of like hears him out and is like, oh, Nate. Yeah, Nate was kind of a douche to me. You're right. Okay, but then not too much, right?
And did you notice he leans in for a kiss at the end of their conversation, and she like gives him a hug with a pat on the back?
I think he kisses her on the cheek.
Yeah, he leaned in for a kiss, and she was like, "Nope, not doing that." And then so they got up to have their little hug, and he kisses her on the cheek, and she's like, "Yeah, okay,
fine, bro. Right. Yeah, get out of here."
Yeah. Oh God.
Yeah. So then Nate comes and sits with her, right? Yeah. And she says that Chris brought his name up as this cocky guy that thinks, oh, he's gonna totally get a one-on-one and blah blah blah,
and he's winning the competition, and like she's a prize to be won, and this isn't about falling in love. Like that's brought up too.
Exactly. And the only problem I have with Nate during this whole time, and it's not saying that it gives any validity to Chris's bullshit, but Nate doesn't seem to really like give a fuck. He's kind of like even with her,
he doesn't care about Chris. I think he
was so
frustrated that his time with Michelle got turned into Chris drama, that it kind of overtook his emotional state, right?
Could be, because he definitely didn't try and like make it good with her. He was kind of just like, yeah, I'm just whatever.
Yeah, whatever. And so Nate like, and credit to Nate, he doesn't blow up Chris in front of everybody. He says, hey Chris, let's go over here and talk.
Yep.
And all the guys are like at the bottom of the stairs. They're like upstairs on the balcony, so they're kind of off on their own. And Chris is like, he starts doing the thing because he's like, oh, she was probing me for all these answers, and that's why I dropped your name. And it's like, well, Chris, you said it was a bunch of guys, right? You said there's a bunch of guys here that think they've got this in the bag. It's like, and you dropped one name.
Well, and when Nate asks Chris, like, what are the other names? And he's like, I'm not here to do homework, bro. I'm not here to talk about all that. And like, even when Nate's talking, Chris continually is like interrupting him.
He's not listening to him. He just keeps talking his own points, and he kind of just goes in circles. And oh god,
it felt again very Donald Trumpy, where it's like, I can't win the argument, so I'm just gonna like keep jabbing the same point.
Yeah, disrespectful. I have disrespectful incel shit written down.
Yep.
And Nate, though, even though like this hasn't been Nate's best episode, like we can both agree there. Like,
he hasn't been the best light for sure.
He wins me over at the end because he starts calling Chris a dweeb. Of all the words in the world, calls Chris a dweeb, and I was like, I'm here for dweeb. I
Well,
can do that.
I'm here for dweeb if it's earned, and Mr. Chris sure earned it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Like I'll
uh,
lovingly sometimes throw out the word dweeb or nerd or whatever, like with friends, like but this is the negative connotation. He full on earned that negative connotation of
absolutely.
dweeb because he's being like, it's just like short guy, unsuccessful energy. Do you remember that video years
Yep.
ago of that short dude at the like cafe freaking out?
I don't think I
Uh,
do. I don't think I do.
there was this video of some short dude at a cafe freaking out, and he just starts getting mad at everybody and everything. And I got a similar vibe to this.
Maybe okay. I think I am starting to maybe recall what you're
He made
talking
some
about.
T-shirts and tried to get famous off it, but then I think there was like he
Oh,
got in a
jeez.
civil suit because he was being a huge piece of shit.
Lovely,
Um.
lovely.
Anyway, it was like I that was where my brain went.
Yeah, yeah.
Just short guy energy here, man. Like I'm not a tall dude. I'm honestly Chris might even be the same height as me, and he just looks short compared because
Compared
he's
to
got
these
all these
giants.
6'4" guys.
Yes.
But there's don't go around with your short guy energy, throwing this stuff out there and being trying to be the knight in shining armor.
Yep.
He
But
even starts shit
thankfully.
talking Olu a bit. Him and Olu get into it.
Oh yeah,
And
he's
Olu's
yapping.
just kind of like, I don't have time for you, basically, is
Nope.
the point of Olu's conversation. And then cuts to Chris's little interview thing. And he's like, oh, I'm going to get a roast night. Olu doesn't know what he's talking about. When I get that roast, I'm going to turn around. I'm going to look at Olu. I'm going to wink. He's going to know that I'm here, blah, blah, blah.
Sure you are, Chris.
Saying
Sure
all
you
this
are.
shit. And just to cut ahead, Chris does get a freaking rose for some reason. And when he gets his rose, he doesn't look at Olu.
He doesn't
turns
do
around,
shit.
eyes to the ground, walks back to his spot. Like, oh god, it's just everything about him pissing me off this episode.
Well, thankfully, right after that, Joe kind of saves the date for Michelle, right? He brings her some snacks, brings her a nice blanket, all of this stuff to comfort her. And the funny thing that I wrote down is he had M&Ms that he brought, right? He brought like 3 kinds of M&Ms. And she's like
covered over the bags.
Yep, and she's like, "Oh, I've never had these before." And I'm like, "You've never had a peanut M&M in your life?" And I wrote, "What do they do in Minnesota?"
Yeah, that was funny because like
Yeah.
I don't think they had the rights to M&M because the bags I think look kind of muffled, but you could tell they were M&M candies.
And yeah, exactly. They put them in like the nice little like hors d'oeuvre containers. Yep.
And I thought that was so funny. And it's like, is she saying that because she didn't know what the candy was because it didn't come out of an M&M bag? And then she's
Maybe.
like, oh wait, oh these are M&Ms.
These are peanut M&Ms, girl.
Has she literally just never gone through her life without having an M&M? Because like I have a buddy who's never had a Big Mac, and he's 36 now.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I'm like, is that one of those situations, or is it just the weird things that happen on TV, right? Like,
so funny. So it made me think of Rodney a little bit with his misdiagnosing food.
Lasagna.
Yep. And thankfully, to kind of segue there, Rodney comes in next, right?
You bet.
He says, hey, girl, first off, our one-on-one was amazing. And
Absolutely.
she wants him to be okay with like tuning people out, right?
Yeah.
I think she said something to that effect.
Yeah, says something to that effect, and Rodney like nods and agrees, and you can tell like he's focused on her, and
Absolutely.
Good for the both of them. Good for Rodney. We love you, Rodney.
Yep.
And we find out that they came up with a custom handshake last week, and we didn't get to see it.
I love him even more.
There was so much on that date we didn't get to see. I tweeted it out on the account there. She also henna tattooed him. And we didn't get to see that. It's like, what other gems of Rodney did we miss last week?
How did henna tattoo and handshake not make the cut? But opening boxes while handcuffed to find the key made the cut?
Eating apples or whatever, or eating sausages or pizza or whatever it was.
Like, how did that make the cut? It blows my mind a little bit sometimes.
Because Michelle got to draw her own henna tattoo. It was like, what is she drawing? I want to know what she did.
Yep.
Right? And creating a handshake. Me and some friends have a couple handshakes we've come up with. Well, they're more like baseball style home run celebration handshake,
Sure.
Things. But it took us a while to come up with these, because to come up with a good one, it's creativity. You got it. It's collaboration. It's
Both
going back
people's
and forth.
personalities. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would have loved to have seen that.
Yep. I wish. Thankfully, we got to see it kind of briefly. They kind of edited away from it a little
You
bit.
don't even get a good look at it because I wanted to practice it.
That would have been funny. That would have been really funny. But as usual, Rodney, you're the tops, buddy.
He's the best. We love Rodney.
Yep. So next up comes Brandon. He says, he could have done more. He could have been better on the group date, right? I think like most of the Brandon Michelle one little cutaway one-on-ones for these group date and cocktail parties, they're just cute together. They just clearly are super cute. Yeah.
Yeah. Whatever his energy and vibe is, even when he was like, remember when he said something that she was like, that was terrible.
Yeah. But he did like a horrible and when I'm not with you, I'm thinking about you, baby, kind of thing. Yeah. And it was like, oh.
And she was into it, and so they just have great chemistry, and that's awesome and fun. So.
Yep, he's definitely up there too. She's got a slew of guys that I'm like, man, it could go any direction here.
He was my night one pick. Was one of the guys from my night one.
Yep, so. You had him, I had Nate. So we'll see where they go, right?
Absolutely.
Next up comes the rose ceremony, right?
Mm-hmm.
Michelle says she can move forward even after, move forward with all this stuff, even after what Chris told her and all of his BS, right? She was like, I'm still gonna, and I think she says this almost every week, is like, no matter what, I'm still gonna try to stay vulnerable, right? I'm still gonna keep my walls down, if you will.
Yeah.
Good on you, girl. You're probably stronger than most doing that. But we don't have to go through who gets all of the roses. But what I was going to say is a couple of notes that I had. Brandon gets the first rose, right? Mm-hmm. Leroy gets the second rose, and I went, he's going so strong with no screen time.
Yeah, I have that written down because he was my surprise rose getter of the episode.
Yep.
Because he gets no time. Like, I swear he must have had 90 seconds.
If that.
At most. And that's including group screen time in this episode because he was on the group date.
Including his fight. Time. Yes.
But they somehow have a great connection. And I'm like, I want to know more about this. Like, what is going on here where there's this guy that is going deep and we don't know anything about him?
It's crazy. He's the Vinny of the season, and I'm curious how deep it goes, or hopefully we get to actually, like, we got a little bit of Olu, emotion
at
least
a moment, right?
Yeah, but nothing with him.
Nothing for Leroy.
The only other one I'll talk about of the ones that got roses was I put Casey. Really? Why?
He was a bit of a surprise to me, but maybe I think he was on the winning team, and I think he was wasn't he on the winning team and he was on the group date? So I imagine they maybe had a good conversation then. So
absolutely
wasn't as big a surprise, but definitely was one.
So I will let you say this one. The
home.
The heroes that went home this week.
We lost 3 guys that we've had some pretty good vibes for so far. First go was, well, there's no real order, but Romeo, which was a surprise for me because again, him and her seemed to have a couple decent moments, and I thought maybe he would stick around, especially
more than some at least. Yeah,
because like with Leroy, no screen time. We don't know anything about the guy,
let alone Chris S. Oof.
Yeah. Romeo goes home. Will goes home. And I don't think he had, again, like 25 seconds of screen time now that Peter's gone.
Nope.
There's no Will anymore.
He was there to fight the slice, and that was all his... That was his arc. God bless him.
Yep. And he completed it, and now he's off on his way home, too. And last but not least, we lose my guy, Halifax, Nova Scotia's Chris G.
A tip of the cap to the Canadian. I know there's still one left.
Big frowny face.
But
on my sheet. But we lose my Canadian. He was one of my night one picks just because he was Canadian.
Very sad.
And I wasn't surprised he went home because he had no screen time. He was on the losing group date team.
Yep.
And so I wasn't surprised, but I was disappointed. It's like, I kind of... Because we never got... I was hoping that at some point we would just get a full Canadian moment from him.
Goofy Canadian thing. Yeah.
where I would have to be like, oh, okay, that might look weird to all you Americans, but to a Canadian, this is what's, something like that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Whether it was food, he starts talking funky, I don't know
Something.
anything, but we never got it. And I love it when those moments of Canada sneak onto TV.
Yep.
So,
Yep. Well, bless him. He's off to
yeah,
the BIP world to find.
hopefully.
Hopefully, yeah.
Because
Hopefully, he has enough
he's
of
kind
a.
of he's a bit on the intellectual side too. So,
Yeah, he's
because
also
like,
not like the most handsome compared to like all of them.
yeah,
He's a good looking guy,
dude.
but yeah.
But again, it's in a field of 9s and 10s and stuff like that. It's like
Those 8.5s just can't shine the way that they
yeah,
normally
it's like
would.
you can be an 8.5, and it's like you're still 13.
Yep.
So, Chris S got a rose. That surprised me, not so much because he was the drama guy, but is because she dodged his kiss.
I think
That was
that like
why
it has to be a producer thing. It has to be like they're like, hey, you don't like any of these bottom 4. You don't care. Okay, keep Chris S. Why not?
That has to be what it is. There's no other reason. He interrupts her. She doesn't give a shit about his conversation.
No sexual chemistry.
No, less than zero chemistry.
Yep. Yep.
She gives him the friend hug and dodges his kiss. Like, I was surprised.
Yep. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate, but
hopefully he gets the boot next week, or maybe this turns into a Luke P situation where every week we're just watching. Oh, he's got to be going now. He's got to go now.
Except Luke P and Hannah had sexual connection. And
they connected emotionally, they connected spiritually, and
also the Christian thing. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Where there's just no chemistry there. So,
nope.
But who knows how long he'll stay.
Yep.
But I guess that kind of wraps the episode. I didn't think the after credits thing was all that.
Well, so the preview happened first, and a couple. Yep, a couple of things. Number one, before the preview, Michelle goes, "Hey, I'm gonna be leaving the resort, and all y'all bitches are coming with me."
Yeah.
And I thought that was super cute. They're gonna go to Minneapolis.
Travel returns to the Bachelorette.
Even if it's
we going?
Oh God.
Minnesota.
Yep.
Minnesota.
It's kind of like, I think it was it Peter's season where they're like, and we're gonna go to Cleveland, and all the girls go, oh no.
It was Peter's or Colton's season.
Yep.
Yeah, one of the two. They're like, we're getting out of the Los Angeles. We're going to Cleveland.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that, ladies.
Remember Becca's season, and they're like, we're going to the most romantic place, and it's like Virginia.
Oh, jeez. Like, yeah, anytime it's not like, Paraguay or something, it's like, it's kind of tough. But
that's the thing, and I guess but I bet you the guys are thrilled. They probably so happy to get out of the hotel and the resort. Yeah. So, but I did laugh at that. I thought that was so funny.
Well, it's great because oh, sorry.
I was gonna say, cuts to Brad. He's like, "Yeah, Minnesota, woohoo!" It's like I don't think anybody who's not from Minnesota has ever been that excited to go to Minnesota.
Nope. And she even says it, right? She goes, "The Midwest is the best," and I wrote down, "Sorry, Michelle. The Midwest is definitely not the best." And I think most people that even live there would agree with that.
Well, you're from Montana. You're Midwest.
Yes, but I moved away for a reason.
I'm from Alberta, which is Midwest Canada. But like you're in Seattle, and I'm very much a Vancouver guy on the inside.
There you go. There you go.
We're both coastal guys, and in my opinion, you can't beat the coast. I know people, the people, they're salt of the earth, great folks. And it's like, there are some great folks.
Of course.
But the ocean, you're on the coast, you have the ocean, you have mountains, you have all this other stuff. And it's just...
It's hard to beat. I don't know. It's hard to beat, but...
like, I've been to Minnesota, and I liked it.
I liked it too. Yeah, I've been to Minneapolis, and it was great. It was
I
cool.
went to a hockey game there.
Nice.
And it was fine. But the thing for me about it was like it felt too much like Edmonton when I was there.
Fair.
And so I was just like, oh, this is just American Edmonton. I'm like,
then the Midwest Canada takes a lot of culture from the Midwest. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's just how it goes, man. It's just how it goes. But
Like I said, there's 38 million of us in the entire country. We get all of your TV. Like I didn't watch the American broadcast, so I don't have any commercial notes.
Oh, that's fair. That's fine. It's okay.
But we get all that, like all your media and all that. You know, NFL's big up here. It all crosses over, but
Yep.
and the other thing too is like something like 80%, 90% of the Canadian population lives within.
Oh, it's on the border.
About 100 miles of the border.
Yep.
Because
every
when
major
you get
city.
North of that, it's freaking cold and it sucks, man.
Well, I think even Edmonton is further north than most major cities, right?
I think in the world, Edmonton is one of the most populous cities as when you get north, because like it's something over a certain latitude, certain parallel.
Yeah,
it's considered like the most populous city north. And it's
like, there you go. There you go.
And then we get weather sometimes that's colder than Siberia.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
That's what it's like here sometimes.
So then the preview kicks in, right? Minnesota time. Looks like they're going on a group date in Vikings Stadium, which I think is kind of fun.
I bet you Colton's gonna. Not Colton. Clayton. I bet you he's so excited for that day. He's like, "Ooh, football and
man stuff."
He's probably gonna kick ass in arm wrestling. Like, don't get me wrong, but yeah, doesn't look like a football date. And considering we've already had the basketball date, I'm actually like, yeah, that's fine. Let's
do something more interesting.
Yeah, doing arm wrestling. It looks like that's some other gimmicks going on.
Yep.
So and then we get all the Joe date promos. They get their Minnesota date.
Their one-on-one had to wait until they moved up there, of course.
Can't do a one-on-one where they haven't been before. Let's do a one-on-one where they both live and have them do activities they normally do, probably.
They're like, is that where you DM'd me or not? Yes. Yeah. But it looked like Rodney got a little bit of lovey time in there as well. I think that's probably like a clip of a group date, which I'm stoked for him, of course.
Yeah. And I actually didn't notice, because this week we had 2 one-on-ones and a group date, and I only noticed from the preview at least, one one-on-one, which is the Joe date, and then one group date. And I'm not sure if maybe there was a second group date that I missed.
So I think there's a second one-on-one with Nate.
Oh, you think so?
I think so. They had I forget the little promo they had with the two of them, and I was like, it could be anything with the two of them.
There was a definite shot of them together, but I wasn't sure if that was like maybe that's a cocktail party shot, and at the night at the cocktail party, or a group date, and he wins the group date rose, and then they go on to. I just couldn't quite decipher that, but yeah, maybe he gets his one-on-one that he talked about, and Chris S is gonna piss his pants like a little baby.
And I think they had a little cut to Chris S after that little highlight. And I was like, I think he might be getting his one-on-one, because then
okay, that would make sense. I gotta watch these a bit closer then, because I'm missing these little details.
I'm there with my keyboard, man. I'm ready. But and then
FBI.
Totally. But then to your point, the funny thing at the end, not so funny. I thought it was kind of dumb. The drifting in the car. It's like, okay, you're both scared in the back of a car drifting.
Yeah, out of all the things, like, but then I guess on this episode though, like, what was there, right? Like, we had she was left out on the group date, kind of, so there probably wasn't anything particularly Michelle focused there.
True.
The Martin date was overall a net positive for her. The Rick date was a net positive, but kind of more of an emotional focused one.
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't know, unless there would have been something silly somebody pulled at the during the cocktail party, there probably wasn't anything else for them to put there. It was just just boring.
I could have seen something a little more with like the guys with the cucumber slices, like, oh bro, isn't this the best? There could have been something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah.
That would have been good.
One last point I wanted to make, and I kind of skipped over it, because I had talked about the lack of sparkle in Michelle's dress.
Mm-hmm.
When giving out the final rose, Tayshia upstaged her again.
Oh,
she had the red sparkly dress, and I was like, Tayshia, you've done it again.
Yeah, I was thinking about that, and when
Yep.
Tasha and Caitlyn came out, because Caitlyn looked not she didn't look bad by any
No,
means,
she
but she
just
looked
doesn't
more
dress
modest,
as
a little more
snazzy.
modest.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, that's the way they should be dressing. Like when Tasha walked out, I think there was like one or two of the guys like looked over and went,
Well,
"Ooh,
it's a
there's
fucking bright red shiny dress on,
a absolutely beautiful woman."
Yep.
So,
Yep. I kind of felt
and
bad
yeah, yeah.
because I think
But
they. Oh, sorry.
I was just gonna say something else about the cocktail party. If you want to move on, if you're done with the dress, there
Yeah.
is no one drinks beer.
Oh, they're all wine. Yeah.
They're
They're all.
all wine and cocktails or champagne.
Maybe they
Like I
don't
noticed,
have beer. I don't
I'm
know.
wondering, do they not have beer? Maybe they don't list beer as an option. Maybe they don't have an official beer, so they don't want to bother with the handles
I
or
could see.
labels or something. And
Yeah.
but they're pouring everything into glasses anyway, so you can have a beer mug for a guy, but not everybody's wine and cocktails.
I think that it could be something like, hey, when we used to serve the guys beer, like we had to take like a bathroom cut break like constantly.
Oh yeah, it's
For
true.
just
That'll run through you a bit quicker.
maybe that's the only logical thing I could think of, but
Yeah, but I noticed that today. Everybody had a wine glass or a cocktail
they're
glass.
just fancy. This is a
Yeah.
fancy group.
Now, don't get me wrong. I love me a mojito and a glass of red or white, but you figure with some of these guys, like Clayton,
Oh, he looks like a beer bro.
that's a beer guy, right?
Yeah.
And he's not drinking beer. So I
Yeah.
noticed that today. I'm going to keep watching it. I'm just going to be watching every episode. Does anyone have a beer? Does anyone have a beer?
Adam Beer Watch 2021. Yeah. I like it.
This is beer for the right reasons.
Hell yes, it is. Hell yes. I got my Pilsner here. I'm going for it. So
I had a little tropical thing today, and I put it in the cooler bottle, which was something my friend told me to try.
Hey,
because
nice.
I mentioned how the podcast, even when I don't have that many notes, we go an hour and 40 minutes.
It is true. It is true.
He said, "Oh, if you have an insulated water bottle," he says, "slowly pour your beer in it. It'll help keep it cool the whole time."
What a genius.
So I had a little lager in there today.
Nice. Well, thanks again, everybody, for hanging out on the podcast. We'll be back again next week. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out in chat as well. Switch-faced Daily, thanks for saying hey.
Beautiful lurkers, we love you.
We definitely love you guys. Tell your friends. We love having people here live, as well as, of course, we have the YouTube as well. Let me go ahead and put the YouTube channel in here for those that haven't subscribed.
We got the Twitter now going as well.
Yes, indeed.
So you can check that out. Follow us there. And the episodes are on Spotify too. So if you want to listen on Spotify, make sure you check that out.
Absolutely.
But my Twitter, Adam_Pied. You can find me on Twitch at Canadian Adam.
Yes, indeed. And
I think that's about it.
My Twitter is @BreakTheFreeze, which is the longer version of my Twitch name here that we're watching on this channel. So we really appreciate everybody being here, and thanks again, Adam, for putting on the long johns and doing it right. Oh, Switchface, thank you so much for those bits, dude. Really appreciate it. The man rocked the drums on his stream today, nice. Jamming out, and he's out here giving bits. Thanks, man. I really appreciate it. So
next week I'll be in the hotel, so we'll see what I can come up with.
Hey, Adam on the road. I like it.
We'll figure it out. I promise.
Sounds good. Well, thanks again, everybody. Take care. We're not going to raid out of here as typical with the podcast, but everybody be excellent to each other, and we'll catch you next time. Okay. Bye.